Another chance saved by BCB.
Incredible job by the Sooners. So much chaos in front of the net there.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the BOK Center here in Tulsa, the site of this Bedlam match between your Oklahoma Sooners and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. We got an exciting matchup ahead of us. Lots of fun energy in the building tonight. Great crowd going. Amy, tell us a little bit more about this matchup.
Yeah, it's a great matchup, of course, to be back here for Bedlam on ice between your Oklahoma Sooners and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. It's always great to see this rivalry continue to live on, despite it having dying out due to Oklahoma going into the SEC. Oklahoma able to come away with the win last year, but this is still a heated rivalry. And despite it being on, claims of neutral ice, it is still kind of, closer to Oklahoma State's home than Oklahoma's, and they're going to come out for a vengeance, playing closer to their home crowd than Oklahoma. But both teams want this title bad. It's still for, dominance amongst the state and college hockey.
Yes, the Oklahoma Sooners take the ice as the home team in this Bedlam rivalry. Exciting matchup, a tale of two different stories for two teams that come from the same state. OSU were, for the longest time, fighting for their survival in men's hockey in the ACHA, and they had a program revival of some sorts, which really assisted in sort of getting them back on their feet. And now where they're at right now, back into the mix of things playing college hockey. They finished this season with a 5-12 record, which isn't one of their best, but I think they're honestly just happy to be back and be alive in college hockey. It's so important. And then the other side of things, Oklahoma, for the longest time, were droughtless in the national championship bid and attempts. And then all of a sudden, you look at it, and they made the national tournament. They did it. And it's huge to, see that this program turn around from the depths that they were in just a few years ago and to where they're at now. So the Oklahoma State Cowboys take the ice. Just a great game. We love doing this every year. It's super special. And for, Oklahoma leaving the SEC, there's not that many Bedlam matchups anymore. They played in basketball this year, I believe.
Yes, a few softball games and baseball games, I believe, sprinkled in there, especially softball. I'm sure both teams will meet in the postseason with the caliber of those two teams. But like you said, it's great. And despite Oklahoma State not having the best record this season, I think you can still see, like you said, what this team means, not only to the players, of course, but the fans as well. So many people here fitted out in the orange and black to support their team. And then for Oklahoma, another second successful season for them. Unfortunately, last season kind of just barely one of those first teams out. But this year, the excitement, if you watch the ACHA selection show, for that team to, make it back to the national tournament and kind of, be able to chase that dream once again.
We're going to let puck drop in the national anthem play out and let the crowd noise take it away. We'll see you guys in just a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Remove cover for the singing of our national anthem performed today by Caitlin Cruz, a junior vocal music education major at OU.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs burst
the University of Oklahoma Tulsa's nationally recognized center for higher education, offering more than 30 undergraduate, master's, and doctorate level degrees, as well as graduate certificates. Here for tonight's ceremonial puck drop is OU alum and Norman native, OU Vice President Susan Bynum. Both she and her husband, former Tulsa Mayor G.T. Bynum, are proud of their OU roots and to call Tulsa home. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Tulsa and Bedlam welcome to OU Tulsa Vice President Susan Bynum.
Welcome back, Sooner Nation. Ceremonial puck drop has commenced, and the real thing is about to start. Exciting matchup. We have an all-Oklahoma native lineup out there for the Oklahoma Sooners, with the exception of BCB from Alberta. Kind of hard to make that one work when none of your goalies are from Oklahoma. But Jacob Rieger, Carson Glass, Josh Bells, Jacob DuPont, and Colton Lavasser out there for the Crimson and Cream to get us started.
Yeah, pretty cool to be able to do that, especially in a matchup like this
Absolutely.
one. Two state teams, state universities going at it, and being able to start all players from home, especially in front of a home crowd, is pretty awesome.
OU takes the opening face-off, held up at the center ice line, chipped back towards us at the bench. Dumped in by Oklahoma, cut off, and swallowed up by Gibson Duhay, excuse me. Colton Lavasser chases after it, in behind BCB. The trapezoids are in effect here at the BOK Center, but the trapezoid rule is not. We don't have those at Arctic, as puck's dumped in. Carson Glass with two pokes pressing. Puck fired all the way down, should be icing, and is. Give us a little bit of grace here, Sooner fans. We have not called a game for a long time from this vantage point. It's a lot different, a lot harder to see those jerseys from our amazing, Eagles Nest we have up at Arctic Edge, where we're right on top of the action. It's a little easier to see from there.
And Cowboys fans, we apologize for any name mispronunciations or slowly getting to learning those names. We do not have spotter boards with us currently, so we're using the Oklahoma State hockey roster on their website to try to get those, so we apologize for that.
Carlisle takes the face-off back to Kagan. Played down low to Fodrell. Fodrell rips a tight angle shot, saved for a moment. Rebound came out, and Carlisle tried to feed it to Mondu, couldn't get it. Puck held in at the half wall. Cut off by Swearingen. Brought down by Owen Carlisle and turned over, flipped out, and played on BCB. He's going to try to get Fodrell right here. Catch them on their line change. Carlisle still has it now. Chops it back to Mondu. Played back to the blue line, Kagan. Cross ice feed to Swearingen. Rips a shot, blockered away. Fodrell on his backhand dumps it in now. Mondu, first man to it. Trying to make a dirty dangle in behind the net. Kagan, Fodrell. Played down low. Carlisle turns it over. Kept in by Kagan. Good shift here for the Sooners. They definitely look like they have the pep in their step. As that puck's cut off by Mondu, given to Carlisle. One-timer from Fodrell. Saved. Pokes have it in behind the net, just dumping it out of play. Heads up down there.
Jackson Fodrell, 33 points on the season, the second most for the Sooners. Most on the season, 35 by Owen Carlisle. These freshmen have just come in and absolutely continued to light a fire under this program. That happened last year, and you were hoping the Sooners could replicate that success with the recruiting, and it happened definitely this year as they got some great new additions, and of course the depth in their leadership in this team, the veteran players, has added to that as well, and that's what helped propel them to the national tournament.
Best plays back to McDonald. He's got a lot of traffic in front of him, turned over and taken away by the Pokes. Jackson Reed fires a shot on BCB. That goes wide, or off the blocker rather. Porter Wolk gets stood up into on the boards. Gets up quickly, Motts. Over to McDonald. Back to Logan Motts. Jason Thomas in net for the Cowboys. Ontario native is Porter Wolk. Had a nice move there. Puck's kept in by Tristan Davison. Hadn't seen him in a while. Now shot from Best. Scores! Aaron Best draws first blood in Bedlam.
It'll be the Sooners who strike first. A great play there right in the middle of the ice by Tristan Davison to get that one through to Aaron Best, and he's able to shoot it right over, I believe, the left shoulder, or right shoulder, excuse me, of Thomas in net for Oklahoma State. That'll make it 1-0 in a hurry for the Sooners.
Great work there by the freshman. We were just saying, sophomore now, excuse me.
Yes.
Hadn't seen him, in quite some time due to injury. Now a 2-on-1 here with Demanchuk and Cavalcanti. Cavalcanti, what a save by Thomas! Stretched out the right pad and denied Cavalcanti of a yawning cage in front of him. That was a good job there by Demanchuk setting all that up, that Sigma Chi connection. Nearly doubled the lead for the Sooners just 4 minutes in.
Yeah, an incredible save there by Jason Thomas. That one, like you said, could have been 2-0 quickly to double that lead, but did a great job of keeping exposure.
Jacob DuPont's tight angle shot never found the net. Goldstein keeps it on the line over to Kagan. He rips one, looking for the tip. Caught a piece of something. Puck out in front of Thomas, taken away by the Pokes. Turned over. Goldstein to Kagan. Flipped forward and out into the neutral zone for just a moment. Griffin Joy with it now. Also hadn't seen a lot of ice time this season. Back for this Bedlam matchup. Playing it around the corner. Colton Levasseur has it with Porter Wolk. Wolk down low to Joy. Cameron Kohlberg. Back to the top for Swearingen. Levasseur rips a shot. Pad save by Thomas. Levasseur again tipped on net. Thomas had all of it this time, controlled that rebound, and we will get a stoppage in play.
And something you'll notice in these larger arenas like the BOK Center is that you don't get as many, stoppages in play won't be as frequent because there's not those nets that we have at Arctic Edge, at least, or as soon as the puck touches the net, it's immediately out of play. Of course, you have those near the goal sides, of course, for when the players are making their shots in case they go over to protect the fans. But on the sides, of course, it's just a matter of if they go out of play or not.
Puck flipped all the way down. It's not going to be enough for icing, but Levasseur had the beat on it. Gets it over to Swearingen. Puck turned over in the OU zone. Levasseur chops at it, kept in. Shot from distance, no problem there for BCB. As that was Cole Ansell, the Tampa native, with the Pokes' first shot on goal. Right now, shots are 5-1 in favor of Oklahoma. They look to be in total control of this game. Just 5 minutes in this, it's kind of similar to how last year started, no, Amy?
Exactly, yeah, and then of course Oklahoma State kind of came back to tie that one up late and kind of, make it a little bit of a more nervous, high-energy game for the Sooners at that point, and eventually they would pull out that win. But you can't count either one of these teams out as the whistle's blown there.
Hand pass. Josh Bells is looking to break free with Monticelli. Good to see him back as well. A lot of new, familiar faces that were, their seasons were cut prematurely or put on halt due to injury and illness and other factors that go into a college kid's life, and it's good to see them all back here. Lots of players, the Payne brothers, for example, getting some good rest before the national tournament. Monticelli has it down low, gets stapled into the end boards. Now it's turned over to Bells. Josh Bells rips a shot over the net. Thomas would have had that with his glove had it been on target, but Rieger holds the line now. Played down low to Bells in front of the net, loose. Dribbled wide. Caleb Shaw pointing out to me, our producer, that it's very similar. Thomas was the starter last year for the Pokes, and he was kind of left out dry, by his defense, which happens, and that's how a lot of the Sooner goals came to fruition last year. We'll see. It kind of looks to be a similar story tonight. Tristan Davison played forward to Glass. A little bit of a miscommunication there. Monticelli has to play it safe. Can't. Turned over. Davison still with it now. Near disaster for the Sooners at the blue line as they were just trying to get off for the change. Davison doing all the work here, still with the puck. Has it in behind net. Well, he's a good reverse check there on his backhand now to McDonald. Shot from distance, tipped. Nearly went out of play. Aaron Best with some pressure. Gets it down low. Porter Wolk to Best. Best Good poke check there by the Pokes.
A good pass, but broken up there by Oklahoma State.
McDonald pursuing with Thomas Lambeau on him, and now the Sooners are looking to break out. Aaron Best with some space, rips a shot, blocked. Never got there. And that puck's turned over to Alex Kagan, cut down right at center ice. He fires it in on Thomas. Has played it, poke defense, just trying to clear it. Acting like they have a lot of pressure on them, but there wasn't a Sooner in the vicinity of them. Kagan makes a good move, gets stood up into, and away go the Sooners. A 2-on-1 here again. Cavalcanti rips a shot. Up in the air, it's loose. Demanchuk swept it away, played back to the point, another shot. Sooners looking for that good tip in front of the net to try to get one past Thomas. And no goose so far. Demanchuk back to Goldstein. Shot from the blue line, never got there. Blocked, dribbles out of the offensive zone for Oklahoma. Pokes made a quick change. And now the other way goes OSU. Centering feed, shot. Never got to the net, blocked away by Jacob DuPont. Shot from the blue line, dribbles wide to BCB. No rebound this time, swept up by Goldstein. Puck still held in by Oklahoma State. Shot goes high. Caught a piece and rode up the stick of Griffin Joy. Goldstein with it now. Sooners looking to just get it out. Try not to get too cute with things. That's what Pete Arvanitis, head coach for your Oklahoma Sooners, preached to us when we had our good talk with him before the game. Griffin Joy, the unconventional dump in, ended up getting the puck back off a weird bounce off the boards, but that all becomes a moot point as OSU has dumped it in on BCB. Big hit there in the boards. Rieger and Sven Svensson. Say that 5 times fast. Collide there. Now the other way goes Oklahoma. Mondu in front, centering feed. Porter Wolk never got good lumber on it and wasn't able to ram it home. Mondu's backhand pass. No luck there. Sooners still look like they have plenty of space to work with. Mondu makes a really nice move right on the faceoff dot. Mondu's backhand pass shot dribbled wide, trying to feed Blake Swearingen. Now one-timer. Zone Carlisle couldn't get all that he wanted on it. Mondu with it in the low slot, turned over, cleared by the Pokes. Alex Bateman chasing in on Oklahoma. Vaudril. Lots of turnovers, but the ice feels a little bigger than Arctic, doesn't it, Amy?
Yes, definitely. I think you can kind of tell that in the pace of play. Despite the players all moving relatively quickly, I think it feels a little bit of a slower game as that's a missed pass from Motts to Carlisle. But I like the kind of setups that, you know, the Sooners have made so far. Of course, only resulted in 1 goal, but they've had some great looks. It's just a matter of defense and getting those broken up. Have yet to allow Oklahoma State really a chance to break out.
And here comes Aaron Best. Speaking of breaking out, trying to flip it on his backhand, couldn't get it to go. Motts dumps it in. Yeah, in terms of the clear and concise effort put in through the attack so far, Oklahoma definitely advantage with that. You see it in the shot totals, 8-1 in favor of the Sooners. So if I'm Coach Arvanitis down there, I'm probably just saying keep doing what you're doing. You'll keep finding the back of the net eventually. And Baird, he did once, but I think they'd like to go in, you know, and not have a repeat of last year where they let the Pokes come back into the game. Turnover here, Aaron Best just dumps it in. Goes off for a change. Tristan Davison pressuring. Tristan Davison still with the puck. Centering feed out for Monticelli. Rebound for Davison. Saved by Thomas. Got a glove on it. That was an
incredible save.
Incredible save on an extremely broken play. Now we're going to get too many men call here against Oklahoma, I believe.
Special OU and OSU merchandise here tonight for Bedlam on Ice. As you can see,
so it looks like it's going to be Tristan Davison heading to the box to serve that penalty for Oklahoma. And this will be an interesting look to see the Oklahoma State power play, to see how they perform. Like we mentioned, it's been all kind of Oklahoma so far, obviously not only on the scoreboard, but just also in play. Oklahoma State, every time they've entered the Oklahoma zone haven't been really able to get anything started, so it'll be interesting to see how they take advantage of this man advantage.
Also, one of the better defensemen coming up out of the rookies, Colton Levasseur, looks so good in all his work that he's done for Oklahoma, especially, you know, sort in this sort of situation on the penalty kill. Want to see how he works that this year. Davison serving the too many men call. See what this poke power play can do.
Interesting for the Sooners on the bench there to have to look across to see their teammate in the penalty box. Much more like, of course, professional hockey. And unlike what we see at Arctic Edge.
Puck played at the point. Shot goes high over BCB. Kept in by Clevenger. Clevenger with it again on the faceoff dot. Centering feed out in front of the net. Swept away by Swearingen. Taken away by Carlisle. And he's able to have it, clear it, send it. Thomas looking to play in behind the poke net.
And the line change for the Sooners. Kill off about a minute of that power play. Oklahoma State had some good looks, but never really able to get anything set in, especially not too close. Most of their shots were from a little in front of the blue line there, and of course those shots can be lethal, but you want to try to get up closer in front of the net, create more of a screen for your players.
James Dunn with it now for the Pokes. Just going to dump it in. This is an interesting decision to do on a power play when you have the man advantage. Now puck held in at the corner. Motz's clearance attempt fired off of Aaron Best. Motz with it, gets it over to Aaron Best. One-on-one here with James Dunn, the lone man. Best gets it poked away. He's just fine with letting that go where it did. Time winding down, just under 10 seconds now on the poke power play. Oklahoma State unable to enter cleanly. Good stretch pass up to Ben Mondu. Ben Mondu rips it, glove saved by Thomas. Sooners with the better look on that power play. I don't believe the Cowboys got a single shot on that entire sequence.
No, I don't think so. And a good ability there for Oklahoma, kind of like you said, that stretch pass, just able to reach out and find one another. Their chemistry that this team has clearly showing throughout this game early. It's resulted in a killed penalty for Oklahoma.
Offensive zone
power play, excuse me.
Yeah, offensive zone face-off won initially by Oklahoma, turned over. Both teams are looking a little sluggish early on. There's bad turnover there by Fodrell. Is going to allow for a tight angle shot on BCB. Save, no problem.
It looks like Fodrell and Kagan there almost ran into each other. A little bit of friendly fire.
That was Braden Patala with that last chance there, and the third shot of the period for Oklahoma State.
And like you mentioned, 2 weeks since Oklahoma last played their game, and what a thriller that was against UCO. Oklahoma finally able to break that winning streak with a victory there in that series, and of course allowed a lot of time for recovery, but
yes,
also for both teams it's been just like us, maybe a little bit of breaking off that rust in the first period and trying to get back into things a little bit later as we enter the second half of this first period.
Absolutely. The way the college hockey schedule works is it's not very set in stone with when the games are played, and there's a long break in between, you know, kind of the halves of the seasons, and so we get a lot of time away and we get a lot of time on. It comes in spurts. But the Sooners have a good look here with Demanchuk. Playing it back to Levasseur. Shot through traffic, and Cavalcanti couldn't get a stick on it. Gets swept up.
Yeah, I was just going to mention,
pile
he probably wishes he could have gotten a tip on that one.
Speaking of travel and the amount of, you know, work that it takes to get an ACHA team in a division where the colleges are spread far and wide across this great nation, the Sooners traveled more miles than the OU football team did, which I think speaks volumes to just, you know, where these opponents are and what goes into playing these types of games. As Rieger takes the Sooner face-off, Monticelli's shot goes wide. Motz down low to Carson Glass. Carson Glass back to Motz at the point. Shot from distance. Found the pad of Thomas. Puck played back to Rieger. Motz wanting it. Puck played back down low. Monticelli. Rieger. I'm going to say it just skipped over the blue line. Sooners obviously had 2 milliseconds to touch up and were unable to do so. So that faceoff will be held outside the blue line.
And I believe it did just slip past the stick of Rieger. It looks like we got a little bit of the OU Palm squad here. Of course, Oklahoma State's own squad here as well. Support both of their teams.
Decent turnout. I unfortunately didn't make the trip last year, so I can't really reference. Amy, would you say it's about the same as last year in terms
I would
of attendance,
say
or a little better?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say around the same, maybe a little bit more. Of course, a lot of fans come out here. You also get admission to that Tulsa Oilers game after, which is always great to see. That one deflect right off the stick of Thomas.
Yeah, he's having no problem seeing the puck right now. I know the Sooners are wanting to get bodies in front of the net. Turnover by Bells. Motts just dumps it in. Ethan Norman on it. Ethan Norman from Edmond playing for Oklahoma State in Stillwater. If that doesn't confuse you, I don't know what will. Patola turned over. Cowboys looking to produce some offense, can't get it going. Levasseur has it now. Dancing, makes a nice move. Good job there by Griffin Joy, trying to generate some offense for the Sooners. No cigar for Oklahoma. Puck played in on Thomas. And a huge hit there. We're going to get a boarding call. So another poke power play as Cameron Colberg just crushed a Cowboy.
Fans, we've got the OSU Cowboys hockey program.
End of the board. Let's take another look at that. Yeah, that's a boarding. That's a elbowing. That's an everything call right there on Cameron Colberg. No testament and no complaint. And nearly, I mean, you could make an argument for a 5-minute major if, you know, he hits him dead on the back, right on the numbers for a boarding call. But I don't think that'll be the case, as it'll just be a 2-minute minor. So another Oklahoma State power play as Kagan immediately after the face-off fires it down. Thomas to play it.
Oklahoma only allowed one shot on the previous Oklahoma State power play, so looking to replicate that. Trying to keep the Cowboys from getting anything started.
Boarding is the call against Cameron Colberg. Pokes have it now, looking to set up shop. Shot from the point, tipped on net, puck loose down low. Kept in and saved by BCB. Alex Kagan with it now. There's plenty of space, plenty of time to work with. Plays it forward to Mondu. Turned over in the neutral zone. Oklahoma looking to get a change here and try to suppress these offensive zone entries. Make life difficult as two Cowboys run into each other there. Now the other way goes Aaron Best. One-on-one, Aaron Best on goal. Shot blocked by a Cowboy. Aaron Best still with the puck. Good pass and a feed over to Motts, who couldn't get his footing under him. Now the other way go the Cowboys. Clevenger. Played down low, shot, blocked by Tristan Davison, and the Sooners are doing a really good job here on this penalty kill. They did a good job on the last one. Clevenger with it now. Goldsmith fires it wide. Porter Wolk plays it up and over, and now a breakaway here for Owen Carlisle. On goal, shot, scores! Owen Carlisle, your WCHL Rookie of the Year, cashes in shorthanded for the Sooners and doubles the lead to 2.
Gets that 36th point of the season in rivalry fashion. An incredible look there on a breakaway. We mentioned how good the Sooners were doing on the penalty kill, and they'll pick up a shorthanded goal. Still 20 seconds that Cameron Colberg has to sit there in the penalty box to serve the rest of that boarding call. But a great, play by the Sooners to be able to get one up and double that lead with 3:22 remaining in this first period while on the man disadvantage.
Sooners so far looking like they're in total control of this game. It also looks like they're playing at a 50% effort, if you would. You don't like saying that, but it's our job to analyze these things. And from a broadcasting analytical standpoint, they're definitely could be playing at a higher level of intensity, and They don't really need to expend that much energy, because it's kind of the same way for Oklahoma State. We've seen how good they were last year and in years prior when they won in overtime, and we know what they're capable of, but in terms of what we've seen, it's just not been there so far.
Exactly, and I think for Oklahoma as well, you have the national tournament looming in a few weeks. You don't want to, get too many injuries as that one's cleared down the ice. But, You don't want to get too many injuries, pick up too many bumps or bruises on your players when you have, you know, and arguably some more important games coming up. Of course, both teams care deeply about this rivalry and carrying it on in the state, but don't want to endure any major injuries.
Josh McDonald and Porter Wolk pick up 2 apples on that play. Carlisle, of course, with the finish. Puck played down by Goldstein. Fodrell has it right around the face-off dot. Elects to bank it off the boards to himself. Over to Mondu now. Mondu with 3 pokes on him, looking for empty space. Fodrell's shot off the post. Played down by Oklahoma State, kept in by Goldstein momentarily before it's fired all the way down for an icing. No, it's not
icing. Waved off.
Interesting there as Porter Wolk enters the blue line cleanly. And now Fodrell has it in space. Shot off the blocker, kind of dribbled wide, didn't have a lot on it. Kagan at the point, rips one, rebound for Best. A good defensive play there by Poke to suppress that opportunity. Puck fired in on Thomas. Played back to Svensson. Svensson, that is. As Kagan steps into an Oklahoma State player. What a hit there right on the red line. Fodrell. Davison. Plenty of space to work with. One of the best skaters is a reverse check there. Tristan Davison stands over his man. Pokes have to touch up. They do. Kagan still has it for Oklahoma. Plays over to Goldstein. Just about a minute left to go in this first period. It's been all Oklahoma. 2 goals on the board, 18 shots to boot. And now Jacob DuPont. They're going to say the Sooners were offsides. Normally we have a really good angle of that and can contest it pretty heavily from our Arctic Edge vantage point. But up here, we will leave it to the officials to do their jobs correctly. And these are ECHL officials, so some of the best of the bunch.
Exactly. That was a big hit, like you mentioned back there. Tristan Glass on Thomas Lambo, but got right back up and played that one off like a champ.
Cavalcanti doing a good job pestering defensively. As a forward, Sooners still unable to get it out of the offensive zone for the Pokes. McDonald makes a smart move, just takes it back in behind BCB. Mott's lost his stick for a moment. That's why he didn't get it when he could have. Cleared up, chopped down, and chase after. No icing here. Demanchuk in the zone for Oklahoma. Cut off, dumped back in. Sooners have to touch up. They elect to go off for a change. Under 30 seconds left. Now Monticelli with it with plenty of space. Monticelli's shot trying to go 5-hole on Thomas. It's a wobbly puck. I don't think he got it where he wanted to. It's a good chance in front of the net. Now Monticelli with it. Tight angle shot. Bounces off and out of play. But 7 seconds left. It's been all Nate Monticelli from Wisconsin on these latest shots for Oklahoma.
And despite the kind of slower pace of play that we both mentioned, this first period I feel like has gone by extremely quickly. Yeah. Only 7 seconds remaining. The shot counter, 19-4 in favor of the Oklahoma Sooners. So if you're the Oklahoma State head coach heading into this first intermission, you're going to want to try to figure out what it is that Oklahoma's doing so well that's stopping you from being able to get those plays. And I think it's just their solid, tight defense.
Collision there. Monticelli able to get up. He and Lambo got into it a little bit. I think they're both okay. And so that's where we will end things here in the first period. Oh, no, we're going to get a penalty for Oklahoma State.
Penalty that Thomas Lambo will serve for Oklahoma State for 1 second. And will serve the remaining minute 59. Coming back out to that second period. The good thing for Oklahoma is it's not sometimes you get those weird kind of minute left in the period,
right.
Serve the first half in one period, the second in another, and it kind of kills the momentum that the team has.
It's a pretty clean look.
But the good thing for Oklahoma is you get one shot off and then going right into, as that one, not a single shot off at all. Oklahoma will have a minute and 59 seconds left to serve on that penalty when they come back in the second period, so time to kind of carry that momentum from this first period, hopefully into the second period. If you're Oklahoma State, time to kill off that penalty and hopefully find the momentum and swing things back in your favor.
Thank you for tuning into that first period, Sooner hockey fans. We'll be right back with your intermission report. It was an exciting start to the period. Sooners take things 2-0, dominate in the shots, dominate on the scoreboard, and dominating their way to St. Louis.
Step right up. Buckle up. The only direction we're headed is... Yep, you get it. Welcome to the one and only Oklahoma.
In some ways, this film is like the university itself.
The one flagship university that has served the state since before there was a state.
Its story is never entirely completed.
Where one scoop of dirt can save thousands of lives. Where one group of biologists are connecting with world-class meteorologists to protect the one world, one planet that connects us all. Whoa, that one literally might land on the moon. But that's fine, because what's stopping us from going up there and getting it? This is a team, a squad, a family, leading a collective pursuit where we share all ideas, embrace thousands of different perspectives, and require every last hand on deck.
Cleared for takeoff.
What else we got? More trophies than you can count? Check. Rhodes Scholars? Check. Largest research engine in the state? Check. The next generation realizing a new American dream? Okay. Actually, it's better than okay. It's OKLAHOMA. It's the strength of many marching under one crimson and cream flag, creating Sooner magic that must be seen to be believed at the one university where one OU family makes up the one and only Oklahoma.
Welcome back, Sooner hockey fans, on your first period intermission report. Exciting stuff as the Sooners get that 2-0 lead. We're going to pitch things down to Darby McCormick ringside. Darby, what do you got for us?
Well, hey guys, you heard earlier on in the broadcast about the trapezoid rule, and under the bright lights of the BOK Center, professional goalies are only allowed to play within that trapezoid. But here in college hockey, goalies can go buck wild and play wherever they want past the goal line behind the net. So just something to look out for whenever you're watching this upcoming period.
Thank you, Darby. Back to the booth for this intermission report. Amy, what were your thoughts in that period? Exciting period. We got the goals from Best and Carlisle. Carlisle one came shorthanded. Best was even strength. What were your regards towards that?
I thought that throughout the whole period, Oklahoma looked dominant. I mean, you can tell by the shot counter. 19 shots for Oklahoma, only 4 for Oklahoma State. Throughout the penalty kill, they looked great on both of those. Like you mentioned, the shorthanded goal there for the second goal for Oklahoma. And on, throughout the game, like the game so far, the pace was a little bit slower. We kind of mentioned that for both teams, of course. Both teams unsure exactly about Oklahoma State's schedule, but at least for the Sooners, coming off of a kind of a 2-week break, a little bit of a bye there, and waiting to see the results of the selection show this past Tuesday. And I think they did a great job, though, despite being a little bit slower pace of play, of kind of, getting things set up for themselves. Did a great job on defense. BCB didn't have to face too many shots for the Sooners, and they're getting off to a hot start so far, but of course they can't let up, and I'm sure Coach is going to preach that during this intermission, during their little team meeting that they'll have, because, last year, like we said, Oklahoma State was able to come back. And I'm sure on the other hand, if you're the Oklahoma State head coach, you're going to preach to your players trying to be able to set up better shots in that zone, and, just get themselves more opportunities to get themselves on the board. We know how great this team can be. Their 5-12 record this year, I don't think reflects how, talented of a team they actually are. And I think, we're going to see them come out swinging. But Oklahoma will have a 2-minute minute 59, I should say, power play when we come back into this second period, about 3 minutes away from that.
Yeah, goaltender Jason Thomas, facing 20 shots in the first period is not ideal. Sooners are on pace for 60 if they keep it up. And so that's, never ideal to leave your goaltender like that. But he made some phenomenal saves. You saw in the replay earlier that Cavalcanti and Demanchuk feed, and he just stuck out that right pad and snuffed out that attempt from Cavalcanti. So with the things he's having to work with, Jason Thomas having a good game so far.
Exactly. I think he's made some incredible saves, and especially one early on after that first goal that could have easily made it 3-0 then at this point, Sooners. But he's done great in that. Like we said, we saw him last year and doing a great job for Oklahoma State, so far.
So the Pokes will look to get going. That's not ideal for them to have to start on the penalty kill, but it's probably, you alluded to it towards the conclusion of the first period, but probably one of the most hated things I feel towards hockey is that breach in between power plays where you have like a minute or so on one side of the period, to close it out, and then a minute to open it up in the new period. And so Sooners won't really have to do that. They'll, again, like you mentioned, start basically right on the power play, and will be a good look. The power play was effective in that UCO series, and that UCO series and game on Saturday, the 15th of February, was so crucial for the Sooners and their path to St. Louis, which, now we saw the national tournament selection show. That was a great job. Caleb Shaw and I were lucky enough to be in attendance in the Willie Baird household, where we had a lot of fun. Coach brought pizza. It was a good event overall, and then they will match up against Arizona in the first round. We saw Arizona in Norman, in Edmond rather, earlier in the season. Do you have any thoughts on that matchup, Amy?
I think it'll be kind of, a tough rematch. That was a series that I believe they split through those 2 games up in Edmond. So it'll be different. The good thing for Oklahoma is that they're seeing, of course, a familiar foe, so they'll be able to watch back that game film and see what they did right in the game that they won and what they did wrong in the game that they lost to kind of counteract those points and improve on their season. But I think it'll be a great matchup between 2 really talented teams, and it'll be a good test for the Sooners. Of course, just making it to Nationals is a great step for the Sooners when it's been, quite a while for them. But I think it'll be great. And I believe on the ACHA broadcast, that selection show, they mentioned Arizona's been in the national tournament pretty consistently, but unable to get past that first round. So maybe the Sooners can kind of look back on some of that film and use it to their advantage.
Absolutely.
However, going to want to focus on perfecting their own game.
We'll try to get a lot of coverage for you guys. And let's show the moment that OU was called on Selection Sunday.
Coming up next, we have number 15 Arizona. They're going to be taking on the Sooners of Oklahoma, who are sitting at number 18 as we get a look into both these teams here. Lots of smiles.
Just a great moment for this program and its history and everything about it. We'll try to get you some content. We're not allowed to stream it like we normally do for games. Also a little difficult because it does interfere with a bit of our school schedules, but Flow Hockey is going to be the carrier of the national tournament. All those games will be on their website. I think you have to pay for it, which isn't ideal. However, we're going to see if we can't send a couple of us up there and try to get some good content for you guys, because we know how much you are proud of this team, just like we are. Sooners are going to start on the power play. Lambeau in the box for that penalty he committed against Alex Kagan at the conclusion of the first period. Opening faceoff critical here, looking to get it in the offensive zone for the Pokes. Sooners win it a little too well. Fodrell could not get his bearings on that. Puck all the way on the opposite end of the ice. Sooners now looking to break out with Benjamin Mondu. The Quebecois skates in for Oklahoma. Gets taken down, yanked down. Sooners still have the puck though. Carlisle looking to set up Goldstein. Fodrell waiting for his one-timer opportunity. He gets it! Oh, and what a save by Thomas. Jackson Fodrell lurking like prime Alex Ovechkin right on the face-off dot. And he doesn't get all of them that well, but that one he really connected with. I think Thomas kind of could sense his presence, just about 20 feet away from him. And was able to slide over and block her that up and out of play.
Wish we could have a speedometer on that one somewhere. That one was absolute heat coming into the net for Oklahoma State. And these are the type of saves that Thomas has been making throughout the game that have been crucial for his team so far that we were talking about. It's not for his lack of effort that they gave up those 2 goals so early. He's done an incredible job so far facing great shots like that.
Goldstein back to Carlisle. Dances with it. Elects to play it over to Best. Back to Goldstein. Carlisle. Down low, Mondu took an awkward hop off the boards. Sooners still maintain possession. Goldstein, Fodrell, pass over to Carlisle, down low, Mondu. Centering feed shot from Best was a muffin. And the Cowboys clear it. That was a really good effort there, moving the puck to all facets and corners of the ice on that last attempt, as Fodrell has to backtrack to get that puck. There's about 45 seconds left of power play time for the Sooners. Now to Manchuk. Fighting on it along the half wall. Porter Wolk over to Motts. Kagan dances the blue line, surveys, plays it down to Porter Wolk. Wolk over to DuPont. Kagan with it with space. Kagan rips a shot, blocked. Still with it now. Clearance attempt failed. DuPont has it in behind the net. Looking for a feed, finds Wolk. Give and go. Back to the point, Kagan. Power play time expiring for Oklahoma. They got to get something going here. Shot with a juicy, corpulent rebound, and no Sooner was there. It's kept in the zone, however. Porter Wolk rips a shot that goes wide to Thomas. Lambeau out of the box, touches it, so no icing. And the Sooners unable to cash in. Unable to really put up much. Their looks were good, but the sticks were not.
Exactly, only 1 shot during that power play. And like you said, that one series, just an incredible ability by the Sooners passing all around. I believe everyone touched the puck on that one possession, but just whiffed on the shot there, unable to get anything through. So they're going to try to regroup, and Oklahoma State's going to look to do the same thing. A great penalty kill by them.
Yeah, Sooners trying to experiment with some new ways as Logan Motts lays the lumber on Patola. Oh my goodness, what a hit. Pokes penalty kill only about 75% this season, so Oklahoma can't take these opportunities for granted if the game gets tight. This puck's fired out of play, so definitely looked like they were trying to experiment and try some new things out. Again, you mentioned with that Arizona series, these teams played each other. They know each other well, and so they got to come into it with a new game plan of some sort so that, you can try to catch them lacking and not really knowing what to expect.
Exactly. Yeah, got to take the things that they've done well all season and improve on them and kind of tweak those mistakes. I think they've done a great job, especially this year. Coaches emphasized about minimizing, the penalties that they take, and they've done a good job. A little bit of that before those 2 series, the Valentine's Day series and the Colorado series. Oklahoma on that away stretch of games kind of taking more penalties than they probably like.
Yeah.
And as Coach mentioned, wanted to get those down to a minimum. I think they did a great job of doing that in those last 2 home series, and we're going to want to definitely continue that into the national tournament where, the level of play is going to be taken up a notch.
Yeah, and so in the last 2 years, they played each other 4 times, split the series. One of the wins for Oklahoma was in overtime. It's a breakaway here, shot off the post. BCB was beaten glove side. And the bar is the goalie's best friend most of the time. In that instance, it definitely was. Good setup here for Oklahoma. Owen Carlisle has it down low, has a trailer. Carlisle feeds it off for Mondu, but wrong place, wrong time for the Sooners. Puck dumped in on BCB. He's just going to hold it up for a whistle. 4 minutes gone by. Not much has changed in this second frame.
And the sound of that puck hitting the post, I think, was a great relief to all of the Sooner fans in the building and the Oklahoma players and coaches on the benches, at least from our angle up here, like we kind of continue to mention. Can't really see as well as we can in Arctic Edge, but that sound definitely alerts you to whether or not puck's going to go in or not, and that one just barely kept out.
Oklahoma State will be hearing that sound reverberating in their ears for a long time if they don't get one. As Best fires it wide. BCB's glove side's not his most favorable side. He's definitely let in a few tricklers. Sooners rotate Porter Wolk. Unable to get going for Oklahoma. Puck caught up, turned over. Davison looking for space. Tristan Davison rips a shot high and wide on Thomas. Puck hemmed in the zone, kept up by Tristan Davison in the corner. Davison looking for a feed, finds one, and Best scores! Aaron Best double dips as the Sooners lead 3-0.
And Best finds his buddies right behind the glass as he puts them up 3-0 early in this second period, his second goal of the night. And it is all Oklahoma all game. Incredible look by him to get that one off and pass Thomas once again and through that Cowboy defense.
Tristan Davison, hats off to him. Both goals, 2 of the 3 goals set up tonight were all Tristan Davison. He kept that puck in the offensive zone for so long, and it's a great offensive addition to have back for Oklahoma, especially heading into the national championship.
Exactly, and I feel like so far this season we've just seen his game continue to step up and get better and, keep making an impact like that throughout the games. A really essential player. You might not necessarily see that on the point sheet, but you can't deny his impact on the ice.
Sooners looking to add on. Jacob DuPont has it. Dances in behind Thomas. On his backhand to Cavalcanti. Cavalcanti, nice stick work there, held in by Kagan. Shot from distance. Goldstein, rather. Puck exits the zone. Kagan gloves it down, gets it over to Goldstein. Cavalcanti. Good cross-line pass over to DuPont. In space, Jacob DuPont, blocker save by Thomas. He's facing shots over and over and over again. There's another chance here for DuPont, unable to bury it 5-hole on Thomas. The onslaught continues for the Sooners. Tight angle shot saved by Thomas. Puck played back and in some ugly open space for Oklahoma as Kagan has to chase after it.
I feel like that's kind of the first miscommunication we've seen of the night for the Sooners. It seemed like all game,
passing.
Even when Oklahoma State has the puck, the Sooners are always able to find it, but that one a little bit of a miscue as they'll get set to regroup.
Goldstein was held up by a stick. Polk's trying to go off for a change. Unable to do so. Goldstein's feed as icing gets waved off there. Griffin Joy has it now. Backhand feed over to Kohlberg.
Just missed.
If he was a left-handed shot, that would have been an easy pot for a 4th goal for Oklahoma as they have to touch up on sides here. Slowly but surely, Goldstein gets stood up into by Lambo, and the other way go the Pokes. Patola with it, rips a shot on BCB. Rebound chance fought off by Brendan Culbertson-Bond. Good job by the Sooner netminder saying, hey guys, I'm still here, don't forget me. as Carson Glass gets hacked down. Oh, and a high stick there. Doesn't get called. Griffin Joy got smacked in the face. Thomas Lambo, definitely one of the most and has been the most energetic poke on the ice this game. Definitely calling his name a lot. Fodrill rips a shot. Glove saved by Thomas.
I feel like for Oklahoma State, whatever the message was in the locker room, it's going to need to start, coming into effect quick. Of course, for these players, down 3-0 early, but there's still 12, almost 13 minutes left in this period, and then another whole other period yet to come.
Mondu's shot goes wide off the face-off. Top line out there for Oklahoma, looking to add on here. Mondu. Feed over to Fodrill. Fodrill shot off the post from a tight angle, but he had Thomas beat, so both teams trade iron as Swearingen slaps one in on Thomas. No problem there on that rebound for him. Surprisingly enough, for the amount of rebounds that have been produced, Sooners unable to cash in. We kind of saw that against UCO in previous series too. They're having a harder time. I feel like at the start of the season, they were doing a lot better job getting in those dirty zones right in front of the net, where you're getting those cross checks to the back from a defender and able to pot home rebounds. But last few games, the Sooners definitely have been lacking in that regard. Fodrill centering feed nearly went in off of a poke defenseman there. Puck held in by Swearingen. Swearingen still with it, turns it over. Carlisle has it, feeds it over to Rieger. Jacob Rieger up to Fodrill. Good move there by Jackson Fodrill. Still with the puck, gets knocked off momentarily. Swearingen fighting for it, still has it. Centering feed ended up being a shot off of the pad of Thomas, and Fodrill couldn't find the rebound. Mondu pursued by Hill. Now a trailing Davison shot right on the center mass of Thomas, as Davison, who set up all the Sooner goals so far, nearly cashed in on his own.
I was going to say, wanted one of his own and unable to get it so far. Don't doubt that he will try again, though, in this game. And Thomas just continuing to try to help out his team. We spent most of the time, most of this period in Oklahoma's offensive zone. BCV probably getting a little lonely back there.
Yeah, he's got one arm on the goalpost, just kind of hugging it.
The impressive thing about as that shot goes way wide and out of play by Motts is the ability of a goaltender to be down on the other end of the ice, not face much action, and still be able to remain locked in, if you will, on what's happening in the game. And when the puck does come their way, able to stay on top of it and prevent those shots. As it looks like we'll have the officials discussing some sort of call, unsure. Likely just placement of where the face-off's going to be. And these face-off dots here at the BOK Center are a little more shrouded by all the advertisements, of course, that the Tulsa Oilers.
Face-off won by Oklahoma. Donald rips a shot, goes wide, rebound off the end boards. Came up. Now another shot from distance. Rebound for Motts. 2 glove saves in a row by Thomas. Looked a lot sharper so far. Motts over to McDonald. Back to Motts at the point. Sets up Davison. Centering feed. Shot. Scores! Porter Wolk cashes in and makes it a 4-0 lead as Tristan Davison picks up his 3rd assist. Primary assist of the night. Sooners lead 4-0.
This is kind of getting into worrisome territory if you're the Cowboys now. And like you mentioned right off the bat, I was going to mention, of course, a great look there and goal by Porter Wolk, but Tristan Davison, once again, he wants a piece of everyone's goal tonight. Just doing a great job as we hear Boomer Sooner ring out through this arena once again. The Sooner fans applauding along, getting their money's worth at this game. 4 goals on 26 shots. This is the type of efficiency we've seen from other teams throughout the season and wanted the Sooners to replicate, and they're doing a great job of that tonight.
Oklahoma. Porter Wolk had time to go get a cup of coffee, maybe a croissant, whatever he wanted to before he had to actually shoot that shot. Tristan Davison put him in such good space. He got into such good space, and then Tristan Davison put it right where he wanted to. His Goldstein now tight angle shot blocked away, and now a chance here for the Pokes to answer, but Alex Kagan says, no, you don't. I'm going to be there first. Ends up winning the puck. Stoppage in play as BCB holds it up.
Yeah, good effort there by Sven Svensson to try and beat Kagan out of that one, but we know speed is one of the top, qualities of this Oklahoma Sooners squad. We will now get a face-off in Oklahoma State, their offensive zone. Get another chance, only 8 shots on goal still for the Cowboys. And that one, a shot on net right off the draw.
Yep. He's looked strong. Few shaky moments with him, with that crossbar shot earlier on in the period, but face-off won by the Pokes. Shot from distance, caught a bunch of bodies and out of play. I believe it. Some friendly fire on that. Duhay tried to rip it from about the blue line. Hill got in the way of it. Hill's one of the bigger players for Oklahoma State. Stands in at about 6'5", so it's a lethal centerman, honestly, when you want to tie up your opponent on the other side. Sooners end up taking that face-off. Mondu gets it poked away. Fodrell sprung forward, has space. Fodrell with it, makes a move, shot, chipped it over the net. Fodrell, who's been one of the top scorers for the Sooners, thrived on away ice, not home ice. Tristan Glass, who's been lethal on home ice, is not in the game tonight, resting up for the national tournament, but Fodrell definitely would like to get one here. His first year for the Sooners could not have probably gone any better. Him and Owen Carlisle. As we're going to get a goalie change here. Anthony Lacroix coming in for BCB, the Florida native. Saw a good amount of ice time in the season as BCB gets cheered. Don't want any injuries to him, especially going into St. Louis. So good decision by coach, I think, especially with a 4-0 lead to work in some young talent.
Exactly, especially this early on in the game. And the Sooners have just kind of had their pick with 4 goaltenders this season, and all 4 of them have gotten starts throughout the game and all boast pretty impressive save percentages. Of course, BCB still being the senior leader of this team and being the winningest goalie in OU hockey history, got to see the most of those starts, and of course his save percentage suffered a little more because of that, but like we mentioned, all 4 of them doing a great job in net, and it's great to see another Sooner get an opportunity in net at this Bedlam series.
Swearingen shot, rebound for Fodrell, glove save by Thomas. Another big, juicy rebound for the Sooners to try to capitalize on, and unable to do so as Mondu pestering hard on the forecheck, gets it to Porter Wolk in space. Fodrell rips another shot, blocked by Duhay. Puck played in front of the net, looking for a trailing Wolk, couldn't find him. Aaron Best already got one tonight. Already got 2, actually. He's on hat-trick watch. As Duhay takes it away for the Pokes off his backhand, flips it all the way down the ice for an icing. We'll get a stoppage in play just over halfway through this hockey game. Sooners lead 4-0. Oklahoma State still hasn't gotten to the double-digit shot counter over halfway into this game, so a little bit of a mix of good defense and, slight disorganization offensively for the Pokes has led to that number being at 9. On the other end of things, 27 for the Sooners. Motz takes the opening face-off. Davison getting pressured. Best comes away with it. Skates in behind. Wraparound chance. Loose, and Thomas just covered it. No problem there for him. Another shot for Oklahoma.
And I think Duhay, in his effort to kind of clear that puck, almost made it a little more dangerous, but able to help out his netminder. Keep that one out, keep it from making it a 5-goal lead. Like you mentioned earlier, for the Sooners, of those things they're going to work on as they look ahead to their matchup against Arizona, it's going to be getting those rebounds. Like you said, they've had so many opportunities, especially later on in this season, to give themselves the extra edge, increase their goal count by 1 more, and fail to do so when there are so many great opportunities right there in front of them. And that's the type of efficiency that they're going to see in these, at least Arizona, and if they hope to continue on in the ACHA tournaments, as that one went just above the net, that's the type of efficiency they're going to see, and they're going to need to be able to replicate.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it any better. They need to not take those opportunities for granted and try to make the most of it. And a lot of it is luck with where you are positioned on the ice when those rebounds do occur, but we're going to get a penalty here, I believe. Nope, just an offense, or excuse me, neutral zone face-off. Offsides against Oklahoma State. Face-off won by the Sooners, played down low to Josh McDonald. Shot, Lacroix didn't get a good look at it. He would have paddled it away, but it went well wide. Regardless, and now DuPont springs forward. Cameron Kohlberg on net. Kohlberg rips a shot wide of the net. Kohlberg with it again. Played down low. Griffin Joy. Good stick work. Puck cleared by the Pokes. Lacroix plays it to McDonald. Trying to spring forward a Sooner. No icing there. It was touched by Poke. Martinez flings it up, and now the other way goes Svenson's shot. High and over the net, caught a piece of a stick. Never caught face cleanly. Now the other way goes Oklahoma. Cavalcanti on net. Logan Cavalcanti's shot saved, rebound. Looking for a feed, finds him. It's Demanchuk as it's fired wide of the net. Puck was bouncing and dribbling right on his skates. Couldn't get a good eye on it. Porter Wolk flips it back to Goldstein. Wrist one from well out, looking for a tip, couldn't find it. Swallowed up by Thomas.
Yeah, good look there from Demanchuk, but unfortunately just a little bit wide. Good job by Cavalcanti. As we mentioned, capitalizing on those rebounds. Did a great job. He figured if no one else is here, I'll just get it myself. And that's what you got to do sometimes, be that aggressive if you're Oklahoma. Good job there. Didn't result in anything, but get another offensive zone face-off.
Yeah, Sooners have done a fantastic job of winning those. I think if I were to have to guesstimate a percentage, it would probably be 75-25 in favor of the Crimson and Cream. They have dominated the face-off dots tonight. Cavalcanti flips forward. Porter Wolk comes away with it from the blue line. Porter Wolk's tight angle shot. Caught a leg of Duhay. Swearingen holds the line, plays it down low, dribbling puck. Porter Wolk, couple of nice moves, still with it now. Porter Wolk. Play to Jacob Rieger, who loses it. Still in the offensive zone for Oklahoma, and the Sooners aren't exactly applying that much pressure to keep it in, but they don't have to, as Carlisle has it now. Mondu. Nice move there by the Québécois. Shot saved by Thomas.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Christian, not the most pressure put on by the Sooners, but something that we saw a little bit earlier in that possession for Oklahoma was when giving up the puck to Oklahoma State, it's like they almost have it and then just kind of dribbles just right out of their possession, and I think they're going to want to work on securing that, of course. At this point, trying to salvage the game, of course, still 6 minutes left in this period, and then the entire third period, so still plenty of time, especially with the comeback they mounted last year. But at least this year, you don't want to see things get too out of hand as Lacroix comes out a nice pass to Fodrell.
Absolute
at
amazing
center
pass.
ice.
Mondu goes hard into the boards. Seems to be okay. He's trying to fake out a Pope defender and end up causing more harm to himself. Shot from distance. Blocked by Oklahoma State. Excuse me, the Pokes have been doing a better job this period of putting bodies in front of shots, not leaving Thomas out to dry. We talked about that kind of being a problem in the first period. Sooners are up to 31 shots now on goal. Logan Motz, Fodrell fakes the one-timer, play to Mondu. Back over to Fodrell. Puck played down low. Carlisle still has it in behind the net, gets tripped up, no call. Puck cleared all the way out. Motz collects, surveys, passes it over to McDonald. Took a deflection and out of play.
And some Oklahoma State fans. Looks like we'll go home with a souvenir tonight.
This is probably the most dominant game we've seen OU play in quite some time. From my recollection, I can think of the Alabama series in Tuscaloosa and then the opening Waldorf series on home ice, where the Sooners have just looked this dominant and not really pressured or on edge at all. Monticelli chases after it.
And I think that contributes to that kind of like calm and controlled pace of play. It might be a little bit slowed, but I think, like you said, it's because the Sooners are calm. They're in control. They're not too frantic about their chances or opportunities because they know they can create so many more for themselves.
Puck dribbles all the way out. Lacroix is not going to play this one. So he had help with Kagan and company. Kagan making some nice moves. Alex Kagan still with it. Kagan's shot goes off the back bar and out. Excuse me, not the back bar, left post, rather. Oklahoma State looking to generate something offensively here this period. They've been dead to rights so far. Only put up about 4 shots. And on the other end of things, Oklahoma's put up 11. Nice stick work there by Svensson. Lambeau with it now, can't enter clearly. Porter Wolk takes it away. Porter Wolk getting pestered by Lambeau. Aaron Best trying to come away with the puck, can't turn it over, and the other way goes Cowboys. Clevenger, down low to Lambeau. Levasseur looking to cut it off, can't. Puck held in at the half wall. Fought for Patola. Clears it, Clevenger is met by Swearingen. Levasseur banks it off the boards to Swearingen, over to Tristan Davison. Holds up, passes to Levasseur, and feeds it over to Porter Wolk. Tristan Davison with it now. Swearingen, touch pass over to Best. Best taking his time, still with it. Turned over. McDonald loses his stick there. Going to chase after it. Definitely a lull in the activity and energy right now to close out this second period. You can hear it from our end too. As DuPont looks to enter, finds Griffin Joy. Joy to Kohlberg. Collision there. Sooners are denying offensive zone entries for Oklahoma State. As a nasty check there into Jacob DuPont. Took out his legs. Centering feed, no goose. The other way goes Oklahoma. Thankfully, DuPont's okay. That was a nasty sliding check. As DuPont has it with it now, scores! Off the floor, on the board, Jacob DuPont cashes in and makes it 5-0 Sooners.
Just a great way by Oklahoma to keep piling on. Like you mentioned, a lull in the play, but the Sooners able to turn that one. Looked like DuPont just taking a nice afternoon stroll down the streets of Tulsa, able to walk right in and get that one up and pass to make it 5-0 Oklahoma. And I mean, we can't really say more than we've already said, but just kind of all-around dominance by the Sooners so far in this game. And at this point, if you're Oklahoma State, of course, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State do play in different divisions, so these games do not count, of course. But still, if you're Oklahoma State at this point, I feel, your goal here is to kind of just lower that goal, that score differential.
Absolutely is. Puck played in the neutral zone, took over by Oklahoma. Carlisle feeds over to Fodril. Down low, Carlisle makes a nice move, holds up. Carlisle, wraparound chance, scores! Owen Carlisle double dips and makes it 6 for the Sooners.
Now we have two Sooners on hat trick watch. Oh, it looks.
It's Ben Mondu coming up a little shaken away. That's not what you want to see in this exhibition match. We hope he's okay.
Exactly, and the good thing for the Sooners with this good lead is should Mondu, as he continues out onto the ice, so it might just be a little bit shaken up, but should he need to, as Markey will head back to the bench with some of the other players on that scoring unit. We'll keep an eye on that for you, keep you updated on that. So far, able to skate on over and get to the bench on his own, but
good setup there by Fodrell. Patience.
Yes,
and
exactly.
then Carlisle, he's got some of the best hands I've seen in quite some time. And
exactly. Rookie of the year for the WCHL for a reason. And 2 Sooners on hat trick watch. That will be heading into this third period, 6-0 Oklahoma. Not even, I believe, 30 seconds, give or take, between those 2 goals.
Correct.
And hear the chants of Boomer Sooner throughout the BOK Center.
Long stretch pass for Davison from Kagan. Davison's going to be the first man to it. Played to Best. Kagan. Goldstein. Over to Kagan. Rips a shot looking for the tip on Best. Can't get it. Puck still kept in the zone. Best chases after it. Gets stood up into by Duhay. Didn't really move him too much. Porter Wolk back to Goldstein. Shot from the blue line. Chopped down by Wolk. Turnover here, and the other way goes Oklahoma State. Shot on the Lacroix. That's just going to be the 5th shot of the period from about 60 feet away on a dump-in attempt.
Cole Ansel, the Tampa, Florida native, with that shot essentially from the blue line. I think just trying to do anything to kind of get his team started here, get some offensive zone action, and they will, as that face-off will be towards the camera side of Oklahoma State's offensive zone, but the Cowboys here just kind of looking to get anything going, any kind of shot momentum they can. Still only 10 total shots on the game to Oklahoma's 33.
Now here goes Josh Bell. It's been a while since we've seen him out on the ice. Puck just kept in the rink as a long clearance attempt. They're going to say no icing as Rieger has to chase after it. Lacroix calling out the options for Rieger. Bell's Sooners are going to continue to try these long stretch passes, and why not? Because just about everything's working offensively for them, and it's a good chance to practice those in-game situations. High flying puck kept down by Clevenger. And that will do it for the period. Your Sooners lead 6-0.
Yeah. I mean,
my goodness.
What can you say? Just an incredible, incredible period by Oklahoma. 4 goals, a goalie switch, and Lacroix looking great in net for the Sooners. Hasn't seen, of course, that many shots against him, but a great job as the benches will empty to give their goaltender some stick taps. And once again, it'll be Oklahoma State heading to the locker room trying to figure out something, some sort of game plan to break through this game, break the ice, even if it's just for 1 goal. And if you're the Sooners, then you're looking great. You're loving the position you're in right now.
We got some fun formalities happening as this pass the bucket. Not really sure what it entails will be taking place during the intermission report. We'll be right back with you guys after a brief break. Don't go anywhere.
We're coming after you. You're gonna solve that mystery. I see you, Scooby-Doo. Betrayal is back to you. What's the Scooby-Doo? What's the Scooby-Doo? We're gonna follow you. You're gonna solve that mystery.
that must be seen to be believed at the one university where one OU family makes up the one and only Oklahoma.
Welcome back, Sooner Hockey Nation. I'm Christian Markey, and joining me on this intermission report is the best producer in the world, Caleb Shaw. Caleb, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's nice to be back in Tulsa. It's good to see the Sooners performing this way, and I think a big observation everybody has had so far has been the pace of this game. There's been a lot of time between whistles. We've seen the clock moving constantly, always something happening on the ice, but the amount of open space out there has played to the Sooners' advantage, which you might not have expected against a faster team like Oklahoma State that really relies on getting to open space and generating chaos.
Yeah, it's kind of the sort of thing where, you know, there's a lot happening, but there's also not a lot happening, and that's allowed for Oklahoma to come in and just dominate that second period. They got 4 goals and added to their shot total. See here's, I believe this was one of the Aaron Best goals. That was the Fodrell one-timer chance. Again, if we had a speedometer on that shot, it probably would have been well over 85 miles an hour. So he absolutely rung it. That huge hit by Motts.
Porter Wolk as well, the last few weeks in particular, has had a rocket at the end of his hockey stick, and it came to fruition in the UCO series. He scored the first goal in that game, set the tone, in a game where, after OU established physicality and got that first goal, without a couple of mental mistakes, I don't think UCO ties that game in the third period. Oklahoma dominated that game, playing between the whistles.
Arguably one of their best hockey games they've ever played. Definitely the most important one all season. Is we will see what happens in this third period. I can't imagine that OU is going to really change anything they're doing.
And one of the things that we've always noticed throughout the years, and it's not a knock on this team's defense, I don't think, but one of the things we've always focused on is when Brendan Culbertson-Bond takes a seat, this defense traditionally, statistically, plays really, really well in front of Grayson Payne, in front of Lacroix, in front of Brendan Forden.
Yeah, and that's just something that, you know, I'm sure BCB would like it to be, you know, equally distributed with the defensive efforts, but when you have a goalie that's as good as he is, you know, he will eventually depart to Europe to continue his hockey career as OU takes the ice. It's just nice to have that support for your other goaltenders out there, and you see it in their save percentages because they don't really face that many shots, and you see it in their goals allowed average, and they have one of the quadrum of goaltenders that OU has is easily one of the best in the league, and it's definitely a huge part as to why they are making a bid in St. Louis in the next couple of weeks is because they have the support on the back end.
And one of those things that I think you don't really think about as much is 5 times a week when they drive up to Edmond for practice, there are 2 guys on both ends of the ice helping them run drills. There's no need for a coach to put the pads on and help fill in. They can break things down and play in small groups and focus on the little things that they've improved on so much this year. New faces like Josh McDonald, who scored the first goal of the year on home ice, has added a big presence to the back end when you're missing a guy that played with his same style, Hunter Howe.
Yes, absolutely. And Hunter Howe is such a killer on the ice for the Sooners, and his absence was missed, but the replacement, not so bad. And so the Sooners will look to keep things going in the third period as we will give the headset back to Amy Acevedo and let Caleb keep doing what he's doing. He does a great job. If you're in the chat, give a big thank you and a round of applause to Caleb Shaw. He's been such an important part of this broadcasting team. The reason why we do what we do and are able to do what we do. Matola to take the face-off against Mondu. Wins it for the Sooners, and away we go into this third and final frame. Sooners able to just take their sweet time for checking. It's not something we really saw earlier on by Oklahoma State, but we just saw it right there as Mondu's able to chip it all the way down. Kept in by Levasseur. Chopped at, poked over to Mondu. Ben Mondu's shot trickled right across the crease. It ended up going off the bar.
Yeah, unsure of how that one almost didn't go in, but just narrowly escaped there.
Swearingen puts it right onto Thomas. Duhay has it for the Pokes. Unable to be kept in by Oklahoma. Swearingen touched it, so an offsides call here.
And we'd like to correct some of our earlier goal calls. Unsure, like we said, from up here on this angle, it's a little more difficult to see. Like we mentioned, Aaron Best with the first goal to make it 3-0. Porter Wolk had 2, so that would put him on hat trick watch along with Best. And it was Jackson Fodrell on that last goal. Owen Carlisle had the assist, which is probably why we ended up calling that one the goal. But still, a great night overall from the Sooners. Lots of assists, like we mentioned. Tristan Davison having a great night himself on the assist side, trying to get on the board. On the goal side for themselves.
Jacob DuPont also scored on the breakaway in that period. Not a name we have called in a long time, and he earlier in that play got knocked down and looked like he might have been a little hurt, and then just popped up with no problem. And like you mentioned, taking a casual stroll down Broadway here in Tulsa and just potted home. Glove side. Seems like Thomas's glove side is where he's also weakest. It makes sense. I think most goalies have problems with that side. BCB, as we alluded to earlier, nearly got beat, if not for the post, as Fodrell has it now. Played over to Wolk, looking for the hat trick. Couldn't get the puck on a stick. McDonald rips a tight angle shot. Fodrell took a little bit off of it and maybe changed direction slightly, but no problem there for Thomas.
And I think the Sooners there, maybe a case of being a little too eager to share the puck there. I think there was a better opportunity to shoot that one from right outside the face-off dot rather than pass along to Wolk. But, you know, with a 6-0 lead, I think, you know, you're kind of flexible in your shots and, you know, not necessarily going to miss that opportunity.
Tight angle shot, scores! What a goal! Aaron Best, or excuse me, Owen Carlisle. That one went up and around the entire goal. Take another look at that. Tight angle shot, caught the back bar, and the Sooners put up 7.
And a hat does fly off, I'm not sure, the Oklahoma bench or right at the front, so whoever else it was down
Twist,
there.
the equipment manager, Josh Parsons for
so
Oklahoma.
Whether that was the hat trick for Carlisle or if it was hat trick watch, still kind of unclear based on conflicting
reports
posts from social media as well as the bench. But Owen Carlisle contributing once again. 7-0, not a score. I think I've seen the Sooners score 7 goals in the time I've been here, let alone 7-0.
It's the first hat-trick goal, if it is a hat-trick, that we've ever had on OU Hockey TV. So we're breaking records out here too, but it's all thanks to the guys on the ice as Cavalcanti has it now. Trying to make a nice move there. In behind the net of Thomas. Holds up, stops, pumps the brakes. Feeds to Manchuk, who also holds up. Plays it along the end boards to Goldstein. Goldstein has options. Cavalcanti rips a floating shot. Rebound loose in front of the net. Eventually cleared away by OSU. Goldstein still maintaining possession. Gets across the line, stays with the puck. Over to Monticelli, on goal! Oh, scores! What a goal! Oh my God, Nate Monticelli gets his first goal of his OU hockey career. The Wisconsin native, brother of Peyton Monticelli, a lethal pitcher for the OU softball team. And
he's a sharpshooter.
He's a sharpshooter.
Right. That was an incredible shot, kind of right from a side angle there, right on, able to get that one over the right shoulder, it looked like, of Thomas.
I thought for a second he roofed it too high.
Yes.
I thought it almost flew over the net, but
a little bit. That explains our delayed call.
Right.
There was a little bit of delayed call on the ice by the officials.
Yeah, we didn't see a signal
went
either.
Back in. Yeah, it took a little while getting the signal, but 8-0 Oklahoma. If you're a Sooner fan and made the trip down to Tulsa, it was well worth it.
Yep.
Incredible hockey from your Sooner team tonight, and unfortunately for the Cowboys, 17 minutes still left in this third and final period, but you know.
Sooners have put up a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. OU football players, if they are watching, smiling somewhere at this feat. It's definitely the largest margin of victory we've seen in this Bedlam on Ice series, if I'm not mistaken. And OSU just doing damage, trying to do damage control at this point as Monticelli comes away with it. Why not get another? Trying to feed cross ice. No one was there. Sooners are kind of laying off a little bit. Levasseur first man to the puck. LaCroix teased it a little bit, tried to come out of his crease. Sticks up a glove in the face of Clevenger. OSU turns it over. to Jacob DuPont. DuPont trying to make a nice move, can't get it to go. Griffin Joy went flying. Lavasser over to Griffin Joy. Griffin Joy rips a shot right onto Thomas. No problem for him on that one.
And Oklahoma State just trying to maintain that level of puck possession, but unable to do so.
Another offensive zone faceoff for the Sooners. We'll see if they win this one. They do not. So a rare Oklahoma State faceoff win, but it doesn't matter because it's turned over to Kohlberg, whose shot goes wide, and Griffin Joy trying to play the puck. Hill was trying to play the body. Sooners still maintain possession. Again, really not having to put in too much effort. Shot from Motts. Caught a body. DuPont circles the dot. Tight angle shot blockered away by Thomas. Hard hit there on Jacob Rieger. Griffin Joy, good poke check there. Still has it for the Sooners. Puck played over back to Rieger. Hems it in the zone. Kept in by Griffin Joy, who gets stood up into. Heavy checks coming here from Oklahoma State. A shot from the point by Davison. Nearly snuck through. Davison still with the puck. Tristan Davison on his backhand. Gets it back to Motts. Rieger. Motts again. Gets cross-checked in the back. No call there. For the most part, arm has stayed down from the referees here, and it's kind of how you like to see these rivalry games be played. You know, let it play out as another turnover here for Oklahoma State. Doesn't come to fruition for Ben Mondu. Still kept in the zone. No, they say offside, so the Sooners have to touch up. Jacob Rieger. He's been on the ice for a while, trying to staple Svensson into the boards. Sooner goes down. Sooners lose the puck. Puck dumped in, played by Lacroix.
You mentioned in these rivalry games, you kind of like to be able to see the passion come through in the way these games are officiated, but at least at this point in the game, it seems like, you know, that's kind of boiled over almost to like, or not boiled over, I should say, kind of rather boiled under a little bit.
Yeah.
To the point that it can. I mean, at this point, the game is a little bit more non-competitive.
You feel like OU expressed all their frustrations and anger in that last UCO game. We certainly did. And so, you know, there's still a rivalry at stake here, but in terms of, you know, pent-up anger, obviously fighting not allowed in the ACHA, but that didn't matter on the 15th of February, as it was MMA UFC Fight 67 on the card for both teams. And it was honestly one of the best games I've ever been to in terms of on the ice action and just everything that happened and how it happened, and obviously the storyline with OU having gone 5 seasons without defeating the Broncos. So that was the first shot that Anthony Lacroix had to face in this game after being in for almost 20 minutes.
And I think in that case, that shot on goal is clubbed, and that one sails just over the net by Lambeau, and the Sooners still somehow able to keep it out. But in that UCO series, like we mentioned, of course, important for, you know, the implications for the national tournament. But I think even without that, even if the Sooners were already out or had already made it in, it would be just as important because of that deep rivalry between those two teams. And of course, that's carried over here, but looks a little different than last year. The Sooners, exactly, yeah. And I mean, last year the Sooners kind of ran away with the lead early, but then, you know, kind of had to play their best hockey in the final period to stop that mounting comeback from Oklahoma State, where this year it's been all Sooners all game.
Be satisfying numbers if the Sooners can get to 10, but like we mentioned, they've kind of pumped the brakes a little bit and are focusing on just maintaining puck possession, trying out new things, new passing, new formations, new strategies as Carson Glass gets put into the boards. Still has the puck, though, played back to the blue line. Kagan plays it soccer style to himself, and then eventually over to Josh Bells. Goldstein, his pass got turned over. Long pass from Kagan. It's cut off by a poke. And now the other way goes Josh Bells. Josh Bells' shot Blocked down by Monticelli. Looking for a tip, ended up getting in the way of it. Puck played back to DuPont, fired it wide. Kagan has it now. His shot right on to Thomas. No problem there for the Pope netminder.
Yeah, that one right at center mass, an easy stop for him.
PA announcer and the in-game ops trying to get this crowd popping up a little bit more. It's kind of turned into a library as the Sooners have just ran away with it. Even from the OU side of things, there's not much more they can really want out of this game.
Exactly. I mean, you gotta, also as
Griffin Joyce steps in there, couldn't get it to his forehand. There's a Sooner in the net. You're not supposed to be there.
You got to appreciate though the commitment from the Oklahoma State fans. They've stayed by and large, of course, to support their team. And when the teams were being reintroduced on the ice, still quite a loud cheer from them. Obviously, this is not the outcome they were hoping for, but still supporting their team. And like we mentioned at the top of this game, beginning of the broadcast, kind of a few years ago, Oklahoma State was kind of even wondering if they were going to have a hockey team to play. So, not the season they wanted, maybe not the Bedlam that they'd wanted, but, still a great effort by them and some talented players. And, I'm more than sure that next year this series will, continue or get competitive once again.
And, even with the score being what it is, this game's just so important because it's, we see with new social media accounts like Southern Puck Rising. I'm currently wearing their merchandise. You and I bought a hat from them. Just great stuff all around. It grows the game, especially in a place where it's not necessarily as popular in other locations like Minnesota, New York, Wisconsin. But when you get a venue like this booked and you get two teams that have a historical rivalry, it's just always good to get new fans into it. And, obviously there's no NHL team in Oklahoma. Toby Keith would like to have a word about that. Aaron Best's shot ended up being a fake, but I don't think he meant to do that. And it's cleared by the Cowboys.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, this rivalry only alive in a few more sports, of course, because of Oklahoma's transition into the SEC this year. And, I think for all, fans of both universities, that was something that, both fan bases were a little bit upset about when it was announced Oklahoma would be moving. The
shot scores! Aaron Best gets the hat trick for the Sooners and makes it 9-0.
Twist
launches his hat once more.
Again. And a tip of the hat by Brendan Culbertson-Bond on the bench, a tip of the Cowboy hat. And Oklahoma will make it 9-0.
Sooners finally get that beloved rebound goal that we've been talking about the entire night. And
they just continue to pile on.
Crawl towards 10. I would attempt to throw this hat if I didn't just buy it, and I wasn't probably about 50 to 70 feet away on the third tier of this arena.
And it might look like a rather unfortunate net should it fall in front of the cameras. It just kind of flutters down. So
I did
get to keep our hats on.
I did get a chance to do something like that when I worked a game down in Corpus Christi for the ice race. Shout out to them and the fantastic season they're having down on the Gulf Coast of Texas, where there was a teddy bear toss, and I had to chuck a 4-5 pound toy as a shot scores. What a goal from Monticelli as the Sooners reach 10 in Tulsa.
His second goal, not only of the game, but of his Sooner career, to make it 10 for Oklahoma in the 10th minute of this third and final period. I don't know what more Oklahoma fans could ask for. Not that they're asking for much, I guess, at this point, but 45 shots, 10 goals. Exactly, yeah, I was just going to say, right after, kind of that puck drop, that, the only thing Oklahoma could want now was, 10 goals, and before we could even speak it into existence, that's what Nate Monticelli gave the fans. Winning this game in dominant fashion, just like his sister and their squad normally do. And it is a talented duo of siblings for the Monticelli family. It's Demanchuk.
On his backhand, Matthew Demanchuk. Oh, it's a heavy collision between Davison. Davison's going to get a couple of shoves and checks. I hope he's okay. Initially, a Cowboy went in there to, ruffle some feathers, but Davison seems to be pretty hurt. He's getting up.
Yeah, a little bit of an awkward fall, and he looks like he's skating off rather okay, just a little bit worse for wear, but nothing too bad as he'll be sent off for his second penalty of the game.
Goalie interference there. He's more frustrated than hurt, which, you know, in the moment for him, I don't think he realizes those plays are really nasty and can lead to some nasty injuries. So honestly, coming away with this one a little lucky, and with the night he's had, he's got nothing to beat himself up over.
Exactly, a great night. So many assists for him. I'm sure wanting to add that 11th goal if he could, or more, however many the Sooners tally up tonight.
So third power play for the Cowboys. We'll see if they can finally break the seal on the Sooners, as Swearingen has no problem clearing that. Pokes looking to get set up. Sooners didn't get that many shorthanded goals this year, but were lethal on one of these Pokes power plays. And got one from the likes of Owen Carlisle, so we'll see what they can do here. Lambeau with some space. Kagan clears it, no problem. Good job there defensively by Kagan again. Now a chance here, Clevenger looking for a lane. Shot goes well high over the net. Might have caught a piece of something. Monticelli trying to recover the puck. Kagan eventually does and clears it full length of the ice. Thomas stayed put in his net. Usually goalies come out for that to help their defenders, but he elected to stay back.
A minute remaining in this power play for the Cowboys, and still not really able to get anything started, unable to get set up. The Sooner defense doing a great job of just breaking up these passes, but, you know, also a little, well, not a little bit, clearly by the score of this game, you know, quite a bit on Oklahoma State themselves, as they're just, you know, their puck possession and control has just not been, of course, up to the standard that they've wanted it to be and that we've seen in the past. Just kind of, you know, if Oklahoma doesn't force the puck away from them, they're almost kind of giving it away themselves.
Yeah, they got space to work with here. Three Sooners just will not allow them to enter cleanly on the blue line. They struggle again and again. Finally, Duhay does get it across into the neutral zone. Tight angle shot on Lacroix. Rebound. Scores! There it is.
The Oklahoma State fans will roar in this arena. Skylar, their first goal of the game.
Skylar Martinez for the Pokes cashes in on the power play.
The freshman from Denver, Colorado, able to get his team on the board. And, of course, as we've mentioned only so many times throughout this game, of course not what they would have wanted, but, you know, better to go away with at least something on the board rather than nothing.
Yeah, Chris Paul hits the three to cut the lead to 42 type of goal there from Martinez. But for the fans in attendance, glad to finally hear the fight song for the Cowboys played.
Exactly, give those loyal fans something to cheer about. Not as far, of course, a drive for them as the Sooner fans, but still, you know, a trip to be made, and they've stayed for, you know, this whole game to show the support for their Cowboys, and rewarded with it with a late goal by Skylar Martinez.
So Sooners will look to answer. They're playing with a little more pep in their step. We saw that last rush there by Lavasser as a huge hit by Swearingen in front of the OU bench on Batola.
And 10 goals not enough for the Sooners. They want a 10-goal deficit.
The plus-minus definitely working in their favor in this series as Mondu makes a nice move, tight angle shot. Dribbled wide to the net, fought off by the blocker, Thomas. Monticelli in behind the net, chucks it off his backhand, collected by Motts and his skates and feet. Mondu's going to get a slash. We're going to get an OU power play. He took that stick right on the wrist. That does not feel good.
Yeah, just standing still a little bit there. Little hurt and bruised from that injury there. Of course, nothing too severe.
Sven Svensson heads off to the penalty box, number 25 for the Cowboys.
And another look at the power play for Oklahoma. In these final 7 minutes of this matchup.
OU, for as good as they've looked and the amount of goals that they've gotten, although they had only one power play look, we're not able to cash in. So
this would kind of be the cherry on top of the sundae, if you will, to not only get, you know, 10 goals, but, you know, make an extra one, a power play goal, I think would be kind of the only final thing they would check off their bucket list in this matchup here today.
Cowboys do a good job initially off the face-off clearing it. Sooners taking their time, getting set up. Puck fired in by Motts. Duhay, first man to it. He's got plenty of space to just skate with it, but turns it over. Jacob DuPont has it now, drops it off, turned over, and fired for a clearance from the Pokes. Lacroix to play it gently behind the net. And away goes Alex Kagan. Springs forward Motts. Motts sets up, looks for DuPont. Over to Kagan, now Porter Wolk in some space. Porter Wolk rips a shot, never got to the net. Now back to Kagan, touch pass over to Porter Wolk. Wolk surveys, shoots! And a rebound for DuPont. Elected to hold on to it now. Second bid right on to Thomas.
We'll get a line change here for Oklahoma. A minute left in that third period. Excuse me, not a minute left in the third period. Kind of losing track of time over here. A minute left in this power play for Oklahoma State, or for Oklahoma.
Mondu over to Goldstein, shot, swallowed up by Thomas. When OU's getting blown out, we tend to report on other news, and we'll do the same when OU is blowing out other opponents. We have breaking news from Adam Schefter in the NFL. Deebo Samuel has been traded to the Washington Commanders for fifth-round pick. So 49ers dump him off to an NFC East opponent. Sooners win that face-off. Mondu. Back to Goldstein, touch pass, just a little too much on it for Demanchuk. He still collects it though, plays it back to Goldstein. Now over to Mondu. Good pass there, one-timer! Just wide of the net from Demanchuk. Sooners still have the puck, good saucer pass by Mondu. Goldstein to Mondu, crossover to Demanchuk. Surveys, holds up, Goldstein, Demanchuk. Puck played down low, shot from a tight angle right into the pad. Cavalcanti on that last attempt for Oklahoma. They have now hit the 50 shot on goal marker in this game. About 20 seconds left on the power play.
And of course, as I mentioned earlier, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State not in the same division. So of course the level of competition that Oklahoma will be facing in the ACHA national tournament will be a little bit more difficult. But a win like this has got to be good, at least for your confidence going into that tournament, knowing that you have so many guys able to score these goals, multiple in that game, and of course so many goaltenders that'll be good in net for you. That's a little bit of an odd man rush for the Cowboys, but the Sooners quickly able to regroup
Jacob Rieger did a really good job defensively cutting that off. No. Carson Glass with about 10 seconds left on the power play. Sets up, tight angle shot, dribbles through the crease and wide. Poke power play, penalty is over, so the Sooners go 0 for 2, even though they put up 10. They'd rather play 5-on-5, apparently.
Something we saw in that UCO series and a lot of the series that they've played, at least at home as well, is we kind of noticed that the Sooners like to, there's a big collision right around center ice there, but the Sooners seem to love to get their goals following power plays, never during the power plays. Especially early on in the season at away games, they were great at getting those power play goals, and we thought maybe that would transfer over onto home ice. But for some reason on home ice, there's something about the power play that they just don't like. Normally able to get it done afterwards, but in a game like today, I'm sure, coaches aren't too angry about going 0 for 2 on that power play when you already have 10 goals.
Especially with the stuff they were trying out and stuff we hadn't seen before. But yeah, like you mentioned, there seems to be that golden moment, about 30, 45 seconds post power play where they tend to get the majority of their goals. Chance here for the Pokes. Shot. Clevenger, and what a glove save by Lacroix. Rebound. Goes wide. Pokes trying to make it a 8-goal deficit. Sooners and Lacroix say no. And now the other way goes Logan Motts. Feeds Griffin Joy. His bouncing puck. Didn't get a good stick on it. Turned over and taken away. Patola. DuPont puck played in, no icing. Just about 3 minutes to go in this Bedlam game.
In the first period, I was kind of, I think everyone was impressed by Brendan Culbertson Bond's, ability to kind of, be alone by himself on the other side of the ice and stay locked in. And I think you could say the same here for Lacroix in net. That was a great effort by the Cowboys, and Lacroix fought for that save. Could have easily let that one trickle past, but decided to pull out his best moves to save that one to keep it a 9-goal deficit in favor of the Sooners. And I think, kind of being able to have that command, that focus, just shows incredible, how incredible this Sooner team can really be.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, with these performances by some of these guys who haven't gotten the most minutes this year, again, whether that be due to injury or other factors. And also just being a scratch on a team that's so deep as Demanchuk has it. Surveys, holds up, circles the full distance of the offensive zone, ends up firing it right into 2 Cowboys. But we'll see what changes, are possibly made and call-ups happen for the national tournament. Again, the Sooners will have a near full roster for that ordeal. And so as Porter Wolk fires a shot, looking for another hat trick. Might be the 3rd one of the night for Oklahoma. As Kagan rips one, scores! Alex Kagan, the Novato, California native, restores the 10-goal lead for Oklahoma.
And we'll get a new Sooner on the score sheet for Alex Kagan.
It's been a while for him.
It has been, but he's made a great impact on the team so far this year, and now gets to write his name into the legacy of Bedlam hockey, restoring that 10-goal lead. As Boomer Sooner once again for the 11th time, the first time non-consecutive in a little bit, rings out throughout this arena with 2:10 left in the game.
Bells fights for it and gets it chipped in, covered by Oklahoma State. Now, Kagan's got one of the better shots for a defenseman you could possibly have. Him and Goldstein have definitely been offensive, defensive weapons, sort of two-way players that you like to see. And he's been leading the Sooners in defensive points this season so far. Him and Goldstein have been kind of neck and neck, and just great contributions from him, especially in the assist factor of things. He's been one of the quarterbacks on the power plays we've seen throughout the season.
Exactly, and if you want to talk about how many points he has contributed, I believe earlier, looking at our stats, he's 6th on the team in points, which, like you mentioned, for a defenseman, incredibly. Most
points for a rookie defenseman that they've had in quite some time. Question is for, who's going to start in net for the St. Louis tournament. BCB with the sentiment there has really earned that spot, but other Sooner goaltenders, Grayson Payne, Brendan Forden, have been absolute units between the crease, between the pipes for Oklahoma. So a lot of decisions that have to be made. Grayson Payne with that 5-1 record. Lambeau, we're going to get stood up into by Joy. Fans want to fight.
Get the crowd right
it's not going to
into
happen.
It.
But take another look at that.
And the penalty box door is going to open on the Oklahoma side.
It was just a little shove
and it
from
looks
Joy.
Like Griffin Joy is going to head to the box anyway. Not going to make much of an impact. About 55 seconds left in this game, so the Sooners will have to kill off that penalty.
Lambeau chirping the bench, and the Sooner players just pointing up at the scoreboard. Again, this game has been cordial and tame for what it could be, and it's definitely not a night where Coach Arvanites is going to want these extracurriculars to happen with so much at stake.
I think that February 15th game was enough extracurriculars for a lifetime for these Oklahoma players, the coaching staff especially, that, I think they'll all be happy with that, and I think Coach Arvanites would be happy if he never saw another fight involving his players again, at least to that caliber. So, and especially an exhibition game like this when you want to make sure all your players are healthy, I don't think he's going to mind that one being separated pretty easily.
Lacroix speared that last attempt there. Clevenger has it. Glove saved by the netminder.
And the little tap there by Bells to Lacroix.
See what the Sooners can do with this defensive zone face-off. 35 seconds left in the game. Sooners will be on the penalty kill for the remainder of this one, unless a poke score and or the Sooners, Oklahoma State commits a infraction, but I don't think that's going to happen. Puck's just fired all the way down the ice. 15 seconds left. This Hill just slowly chugs after it. Players kind of slow down. Stretch pass. It's caught up in a Carson Glass, and Rieger's just going to fire it down. And that will do it for this game. Oklahoma beats Oklahoma State in Bedlam 11-1. What a win for the Sooners to cap off their season in the state of Oklahoma before they head off to St. Louis for the national tournament.
Exactly, just how incredibly dominant fashion as they head over to Lacroix to give him some goals. You know, he did great, didn't face, of course, too many shots in the, you know, period and a little bit over a half that he played. Of course, the same could be said for VCB as he rocks out once again wearing the cowboy hat that we saw him don in last year's Bedlam matchup. I mean, scores all around from offense to defense, 2 hat tricks, multiple point scores like we mentioned. Davison incredible with the assists. Unfortunate that he wasn't able to get a goal for his own, but I mean, still by no means does that demean the type of game he's had. 51 shots to 17 in favor of Oklahoma, 11-1. I don't think there's much more you could ask for if you're an Oklahoma coach, player, or fan. And for the Cowboys, you know, of course, you know, probably the last type of game that they would have imagined playing here, but we know that they'll be back. A lot of talent on that team, and we, you know, of course as rivals, you know, still excited though to see the talent on that team grow and that team progress, and I'm sure they'll be back next year with a vengeance with this 11-1 loss for them.
So that improves the Sooners' win against Oklahoma State in this Bedlam series to 3-0-1. That's 2 consecutive wins for the Sooners. Again, that one loss coming in overtime a couple years ago, but good sportsmanship from both teams. You know, got a little chippy, but not much to expect. It's an ACHA hockey game. It's going to get chippy, but I think honestly, in terms of that regard, that was probably the lightest, you know, game in terms of extracurriculars we've seen.
Exactly. Yeah, there were a lot of little hits there, but a lot of them were lighter on the board. And I think more than anything, it was those little pushes and shoves that almost kind of made the player slip on the ice more than fall down from impact. Of course, a couple of big ones throughout the game. A couple of boarding calls, penalties, but like we mentioned, not too much interference from the refs, which of course is what you like to see when you're watching a hockey game. You kind of want to see these things filter out as now the coaches will exchange their handshakes, and you know, overall pretty clean game from both teams, and you know, a great victory as the Sooners across the ice pose from their pictures, and looks like both teams are going to try to complete a circle around center ice, get together, and it looks like some of them Goldstein trying to, you know, rally his team to, you know, complete that half of the circle as salute each other with some stick taps, and of course, you know,
great sportsmanship.
Exactly,
you love to see it.
A great rivalry between these two teams, but you know, I think they have a lot of respect for each other, not just in hockey, but in all the sports, you know, and I think excited both teams to be able to carry this rivalry on.
So we'll have some more content to push out to you guys before the Sooners depart to Missouri for their national tournament bid. It's been a great season with you guys. I know you hockey. Amy, this is your last game calling for the Oklahoma Sooners. Your final departing thoughts and wishes. It's been a pleasure to be alongside you for these last 2 years. Do you have anything you'd like to share?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. You know, I mean, of course, I've loved, you know, being able to cover this team, love sports, love hockey, and, you know, kind of something, the reason I wanted to, you know, pursue this major in college was because, you know, growing up watching sports teams, having so many great announcers that I got.
While they get here, I want to get
this stream here with you guys has made it very special, and I've loved watching all of you guys, you know, kind of come into your own, and I'm excited to, you know, watch from wherever I may be next year at this time and see how much better you guys continue to make this program. So thank you so much.
We wish you good luck, Amy, in the future of your career. I'll be saying the same thing this time next year. We thank you for tuning in to OU Hockey TV in this Bedlam match. I'm Christian Markey, alongside me, Amy Acevedo, as we bid you adieu.